I just can't. I have a trouble following the left's line of thinking, although I guess, as I said, these are the people who will sit there in the same sentence and say, there's no such thing as gender, and gender is a social construct. Also, a 4-year-old can tell you if he's a different gender. Like, and they seem to have no problem saying that. But if I'm understanding the left-wing worldview, it seems to be, we just elected literally Hitler. Now we want him to round up the guns. Which, historically speaking, is not the smartest move. And then the other narrative, or the other belief, seems to be that the cops should have a monopoly on guns, and also the cops are sociopathic, racist murderers. I really don't get how you can square all of those beliefs together. It's like all of this stuff, the whole argument is that basically needing guns as a deterrent against a tyrannical government, or in the worst case scenario, needing guns to actually fight a tyrannical government is ridiculous, and that's living in fantasy land. But they're also saying that Trump's about to start rounding up people and kicking them into third world countries. So isn't that a tyrannical government that's coming after you? I mean, particularly from the progressive point of view, right? I mean, even when I had Michael Wood Jr. on the show, he basically said that Trump being elected made him double think the whole guns thing. Because he was like, I don't think a tyrannical government's going to come anytime soon. And now Trump's here. Now they're really worried about him being a fascist. I don't know. You can certainly argue that there are some countries that have strict gun control where they have not had a totalitarian government rise up, but that's not really our country. And certainly, if you feel like a totalitarianism is on the rise in America, well, have you ever looked into what happens when a totalitarian government takes the guns? Because that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. And look, there's no question, if you look into it, that the founders knew exactly what they were doing with the Second Amendment. And it wasn't for, as Judge Napolitano always says, it's not for shooting at deer, it's for shooting at the government when they become tyrants. Okay? And just saying, if you think we have a tyrannical government in any sense, then you really, really don't want them coming after guns. And if you look at it that way, right, which is how I look at it, of course, and you look at the fact that, I'd say we're already there in terms of a tyrannical government, and you look at how militarized our police are, and how, the EPA has a SWAT team. The Department of Education has a SWAT team. I mean, everyone's got a SWAT team. They're conducting like 50,000 SWAT raids a year. Lots of them. And by the way, it's not really happening in my neighborhood. I don't know if it's happening in yours, but they're out there. They're happening, okay? They're usually happening in poorer neighborhoods. And then when you look at things that way, even just a semi-automatic ban starts looking a lot different, I've heard 1,000,001 people on the left say like, oh, really? You're going to fight off the most powerful army of all time with your AR-15? Yup. Yeah. That's exactly what you're going to do with it. That's exactly right. That is happening right now to this very army in Afghanistan. The Taliban has more territory now than when we started this war. Okay? They are successfully. The reason why after all these years, Donald Trump still just sent more troops back in there is because, that's exactly what they're doing. And let me tell you something about the Taliban. They ain't got shit on Texas.